Alex George Jr. In addition to 101.1 FM radio, you can get us at our website. It is rcistlucia.com. You can also follow us live on Facebook. Just search for the official page of Radio Caribbean International. And please be sure to like and share that link as well with your friends and family. If you want to call in to tell us what's on your plate today, this Thursday, the number to do so is 452-3046. Again, 452-3046. And you can also WhatsApp us. You can message in or you can call in to 724-000. Here's 724-0008. Some birthday greetings for today. Going out to Dr. Eustace Monrose. Happy birthday to you, sir. Hope you're having a wonderful birthday celebration. We also want to send out some birthday greetings to Mr. Gus Small. Happy birthday to you, and we hope that you're having a splendid birthday. Also sending birthday greetings to Mr. Harold Dalson. Happy birthday to you, and we do hope that you're having a fantastic birthday celebration. And also celebrating his birthday today, Mr. Eugene George. Happy birthday to you, sir. And we do hope that you are having a wonderful and blessed birthday. Now, a bit of history for the day. In the year 1866 on this day, the U.S. House of Representatives passed the 14th Amendment, Civil Rights Amendment, that is. In the year 1878, the Congress of Berlin began, determining the territories of the states in the Balkan Peninsula following the Russo-Turkish War of 1877 to 1878. 1956 on this day saw the last British troops leaving the Suez Canal zone in Egypt. And in the year 2000 on this day, South Korean President Kim Dae-jung met North Korean dictator Kim Jong-il for the beginning of the first ever Inter-Korea Summit in the northern capital of Pyongyang. We now head across to our dish of the day, where we take in some of the ICC Cricket World Cup happenings with none other than Mr. Joseph Reds Barrera.
Hello?
The Daily Dish is brought to you with the kind compliments of our good friends at Tiles Plus.
Tiles for your home, I see. Bathroom, kitchen, pantry. Need tiles for your balcony. Come down to Tiles Plus, satisfaction guarantee. Tiles Plus, Tiles Plus, Tiles Plus. Big tiles with unbeatable cost. Customer service, A+. Need all kind of tiles. Come down to Tiles Plus. We also got gasway and vanity. Box, doors, you'll see. Come down to mind nobody. We got the best tiles on island. Trust me. We are located Land Street in Castries, Bosses Joux Lane, and Flag Street in Beaufort. Telephone number 453-7939. Tiles Plus.
Serving now, the Daily Dish.
Welcome back to the lunchroom here at Radio Caribbean International. Now, I know lots of individuals would have been glued to your televisions yesterday, perhaps for two reasons. One being the statement by the acting Prime Minister, Deputy Prime Minister, Dr. Ernest Hilaire, about the Citizenship by Investment program. But a number of cricket fanatics, no doubt, and there are many out there in St. Lucia, would have been following the highlights, following the match ball by ball that was happening down in South Trinidad in Tarouba at the Brian Lara Cricket Stadium. And it was, of course, two teams, two rivals, the West Indies versus New Zealand. New Zealand was the first country to play international cricket with the West Indies here in St. Lucia back a good number of years when they christened the then Bosses Joux cricket ground. Well, they were meeting last night, and it was a really important match in that group that they find themselves in with Uganda and Papua New Guinea and Afghanistan. And to tell us about that match, its significance, and the outcome, and what it means moving forward, is none other than Dr. Joseph Red Spurrier. Thanks for joining us, sir. How are you doing?
Well, I just came from the launching of the OECS boxing program championships in Invitational, which is being supported by the commission, and the luncheon took place at the headquarters in the morning, and that was quite a high level of a lunch. Very different from when I was at the sports desk, but that's the way the world goes. I had a fax machine and dealt with that, and working with Kana, who helped me a great deal. But just to make just one adjustment to what you just said, New Zealand opened Arnessville when that ground was opened in St. Vincent, and it was the Indian tourists who played a 3-day game here at then, of course, Boshishu, that was a formal opening. But back to last night, well, it was probably nerve-wracking for millions of West Indians. And one sure friend, Rutherford, dug the West Indies out of a deep hole that got us to 149. We lost a lot of wickets up front.
Very early on. I think at one point it was like, what, 4 for 23, I think I noticed at one point?
We were 5 down for spit. We had lost Charles. We had lost Puran. We had lost King. We had lost the captain. We had lost Chase. And it was Rutherford who then came in. And against the rest of the batsmen, he had a totally different attitude. He's not one of the stars, quote-unquote stars of the West Indies batting, but he showed character last night. He took his time. He didn't look to try to find the boundary. He realized that there was a lot of overs to come, and he batted and batted. And towards the end, then he really started to give some kind of a respectability to the West Indies total and got it to 149. Now, at one time, it didn't look, we probably would have gotten 120. But 149, and let me say also that the pitch was very bowler-friendly. It was keeping low, and you really had to apply yourself. And it was a very good score eventually that the West Indies got up to. And New Zealand started fairly well. They got into the 30s before they lost their first wicket. Hussain got Conway caught at leg slip. And then Moti bowled a very important spell. And he broke the back of the New Zealand batting. He picked up 3 off his 4 overs. And by that time, they had dropped well below the required run rate. The pressure then allowed, when Moti was finished, then allowed the likes of Azari Joseph and the likes of Russell to come and pick up some very important wickets. It came down to a number of overs left, really, and the West Indies went on to win very, very easily. That now qualifies us, regardless of what happens against Afghanistan here on the 17th. The West Indies will go on to the next round. Now, there's a lot of permutations of who the West Indies may play, but it really doesn't matter because, you've got to play against who qualifies. But from a coaching staff perspective, it was not a good batting display. There was no patience, there was no application, there was no grit to overcome the pitch. And of course, there is already a discussion going on about the New York pitch, which has been very bowler friendly. This one wasn't as vicious. It wasn't kicking off a good leg. But, for example, when Shepherd tried to pull a ball through the onside, out leg before, it hit him well below the roller of the pad. So not the best conditions, marvelous crowd, and it was exactly what the doctor ordered the West Indies now, irrespective of the game against Afghanistan. The West Indies will go forward.
So, right now, West Indies is top of that group C, as you mentioned, of course, and then we have that match coming up right here in St. Lucia, that West Indies versus Afghanistan match next week, Monday at 8:30 in the evening. Now, of course, what does that mean for New Zealand? Is there any chance you think that they could still make it through?
I saw a story this morning when I managed to wake up, because like everybody else, you stayed with the action until it was finished. One or two people might have gone to bed saying, "Chuck, I never with this," but some people stayed throughout. Saw Rutherford take us to a certain degree of safety. I saw a story back to the point where there is still a mathematical chance of New Zealand going through, but I didn't quite read right through. I probably read the headline. But it's doubtful. It's doubtful that they can. There is a doubt whether England can go through, because they had that match against Scotland, which was not finished. Scotland right now is lying second to Australia, and there is a chance, and it would not be in the best interest of the St. Lucia economy if Scotland qualify over England. But we just have to wait and see how the other matches are going to pan out.
I mean that would be a phenomenal story for Scotland to qualify in the World Cup over England. What was I going to say about English cricket moving forward? I mean, one of these amazing stories that have been made in this World Cup, certainly.
Well, don't forget, in 2007, Ireland and Bangladesh qualified. Bangladesh beat India and Trinidad, and Ireland beat Pakistan in Jamaica.
Well, as you speak about that, there's an Ireland-Pakistan match coming up in Florida on this coming Sunday, interestingly enough. But coming back to, New Zealand is in fact playing Uganda tomorrow. And I would expect that they would be looking definitely to win that one, and then hopefully the next match that they have, I think at Papua New Guinea on Monday as well. But like as you said, the chances are very slim at this point for them to pull through, and so it looks quite likely that moving forward from Group C would be the West Indies as well as Afghanistan.
Yes, New Zealand will have to clearly know what the scores were when they played against the same opponents when the West Indies and Afghan played, and tried to beat them as badly as possible. But I think it's a mathematical thing about New Zealand being able to bounce back. Pakistan might have missed out against the USA because they had to win that in 14 overs to help their net run rate. They took 17. So they got the points, but it didn't quite help themselves to get ahead of the USA.
So as it is already, it looks as if we've got a definite, because West Indies is coming in, that means that there is going to be a West Indies match, quite likely on Wednesday the 19th. And that will be against a team we don't know as yet.
Exactly. There's a lot of speculation.
So West Indies actually topping that group is pretty good for us, because it does mean, therefore, that we're going to end up with seeing a fair bit of at least a bit of the West Indies right here in this tournament.
Well, we don't top the group until the West Indies beat Afghanistan. Huh?
Well, we're already on the top of the group. I'm not too sure that even if Afghanistan pull it off, would they still? Is there a shot that they would actually be on top?
Well, it depends on the result.
Yeah.
It depends on his result, net run rate. But I'm told that the West Indies are in a very good position to play here against one of the qualifiers that is coming out of the Australia, England, Scotland group, etc. But we have to wait and see until that
the Group B
is cleared up
before
we know. Ideally, it'll be a great draw for the West Indies team, a great draw for the St. Lucia economy, because you obviously assume that all of the English supporters, which are all over the Caribbean right now, I think they've gone to Antigua, that they'll be coming on here. Therefore, the hotels, the restaurants, the taxi drivers, grocery on Friday night, if I get add a few bars, everybody will be happy.
Definitely. Well, let's look towards that, of course, and no doubt you'll also be at the grounds this coming Saturday to take in Australia versus Scotland.
Yes, I've been promised a car pass, and I'm waiting for my accreditation, but I am told that the accreditations have not yet arrived, but they should be here any moment now. And, but people are looking at park and rides and, trying to work out how close they will be dropped off near the ground, if they take the park and ride.
Right.
So it's something that, and we have to hope that the weather also stays well. I'm told that the Afghan game is well sold out, and I think we'll get.
I think I just saw an ad saying that there were still tickets available. I'm not sure where exactly those tickets are.
It's for the Johnson Charles stand and for the party stand.
Okay.
No, I know that you probably will be heading to the party stand. But the real
you think you know me well, but perhaps not. Yeah.
So that's just about it. But there's a chance for St. Lucians and other cricket lovers to see Australia play here. They're going to play against the Scots.
Right.
So that's a nice match. Wouldn't be probably a sellout, but it would be a fairly good crowd.
But wouldn't it be amazing if Scotland ended up beating Australia? That would be a story.
Well, stranger things have happened.
Indeed.
Stranger things have happened. Don't forget that the West Indies lost to an African country in the World Cup, etc.
Yeah, definitely. Reds, it's always a pleasure, and we're so very thankful that you are around to share this moment with us. Certainly, this 2024 ICC T20 World Cup. Yeah, we're still here. Yes.
Yeah, I don't know what's the protocol, but I have started a new program on television. I don't know if I'm allowed to mention it on your program.
Oh, sure, go ahead. I'm sure there'll be people who will be interested.
It's called Pereira and Company. It's on Hot 7. And this evening, after the news on Hot 7, I'm dealing with the upcoming track and field championships with the president of the association. Also looking at the latest situation regarding the Pro League, because they're going to take a break from Friday. From tomorrow, they'll take a break for the World Cup.
Right.
there's a new president of the Basketball Association
Okay.
that I will be interviewed. They have a tremendous job in their hands to try and get what should be one of the most popular games in St. Lucia
Right.
back in stream. And I've finally been able to track down Alton Crafton. Alton Crafton, who played 15, 20 times for the Windwards, played for St. Lucia. He has been leading the Northern Grassroots program.
Nice.
It's really gone well. And I was able to get him to come and talk about how it all started, how they've managed it, etc. What they have produced, the role of the parents. So all that is on tonight at 7:30. And I'll be very happy, Junior, if you may find the time. Maybe you can stay home and have a home-cooked meal and not go out as planned. But it starts at 7:30 with a repeat on Sunday after the church service.
Wonderful.
Ferrer and Company is sponsored, and I'm very grateful to Dr. King by Lad Services.
Thank you very much for that and for sharing that information. No doubt we'll try to be locked on to get that information coming out of the sports world.
I sent you a press release.
Oh, great. Thanks very much for that. And, of course, we'll be speaking with Joseph Redspur and all about ICC Cricket World Cup. And we do hope that we avail ourselves to the cricket that's out there. Some really interesting matches, really exciting matches to come in the days ahead. We're going to take a pause at this point. Let's see another our dish of the day. When we come back, we'll take in our weather report, and then in the second half of the show, we'll be speaking with the representative of a ongoing project, World Bank funded project within the Ministry of Health. It's all geared towards performance-based financing and improving the delivery of healthcare in St. Lucia. We're going to be speaking to Mr. Nahem Jean-Baptiste. He's wearing his health hat today, and so we do hope that you can stick around for that.
This has been The Daily Dish.
One tiles for your home, I see. Bathroom, kitchen, pantry. Need tiles for your balcony. Come down to Tiles Plus, satisfaction guarantee. Tiles Plus, Tiles Plus, Tiles Plus. Big tiles with unbeatable cost. Customer service, A+. Need all kind of tiles. Come down to Tiles Plus. We also got gas and vanity. Books, doors, you'll see. Come down to mind nobody. We got the best tiles on island. Trust me. We are located Land Street in Castries, Bosses, Jugos, and Flag Street in Beaufort. Telephone number 453-7939.
This is Radio Caribbean International. It's now time for the weather news.
And it's now time for our latest weather report as of today, 13th June 2024. That is as of noon. Our forecaster is Glenn Antoine. Weather at Urinor Airport is cloudy. Weather at GFL Charles Airport is partly cloudy. Temperature at Urinor Airport is 31 degrees Celsius or 88 degrees Fahrenheit. Last night's minimum temperature at Urinor Airport was 28 degrees Celsius or 82 degrees Fahrenheit. Relative humidity at Urinor Airport is 72%. Wind at Urinor Airport is blowing from the east at 16 miles per hour or 26 kilometers per hour. Wind at Urinor Airport is blowing from the east at 16 miles per hour or 26 kilometers per hour. Rainfall in the 24-hour period that ended at 8 a.m. today at Urinor Airport, nil. At GFL Airport, Charles Airport, that's at nil. Total rainfall for the month of June thus far at Urinor Airport is 57.6 millimeters. At GFL Charles Airport, 21.8 millimeters. Sunset today, 6:32 p.m. Sunrise tomorrow, 5:35 p.m. Forecast for St. Lucia valid for the next 24 hours. Winds will be blowing from the east between the east-northeast and east-southeast near 17 miles per hour or 28 kilometers per hour. Weather fair to occasionally cloudy with a few brief isolated showers. Marine forecast for seas in a 25-mile or 40-kilometer radius from St. Lucia. Tides for Castries Harbor, low at 3:13 p.m. and high at 9:39 p.m. Tides for Viewfort Bay, low at 4:40 p.m. high at 10:46 p.m. Seas are slight to moderate with waves of 3 to 6 feet or 0.9 to 1.8 meters. Forecast for the Lesser Antilles, fair to occasionally cloudy with a few light showers. And the tropical weather outlook, the Atlantic high pressure system will continue to generate moderate easterly winds across the eastern Caribbean during the next couple of days. Two tropical waves located over the central and eastern tropical Atlantic are both moving westward near 17 miles per hour or 28 kilometers per hour. Tropical cyclone formation is not expected over the tropical Atlantic during the next 7 days. And that there is the latest weather forecast for today, 13th June 2024. We say thank you to our forecaster, Glenn Antoine.
This has been RCI's Weather News. For more information, call the Weather Hotline at 454-3452. RCI 101 number 1.
Hey guys, guess what? Because your dad deserves more, Europa is giving more. They're bringing back the wow on Friday, June 14th with the very popular Culture Day for Father's Day. Last year was a blast and this year will be explosive. So fathers, stepfathers, grandfathers, all the dads of St. Lucia and all the moms who stand for dad, we are knocking out 15% discount on all pressure washers, vacuum cleaners, upholstery cleaners, in fact, on all carton machines. And that's not all. With turbo impact drills, rotary hammer drills, angle grinders, power saws, jigsaws, and sanders too. This year we are throwing the kitchen sink out for dads.
Messi, ça non vle encore. Pour les diwi.
Europa June 14th. I not.
Click or tap. Order now and get that. Everything in stock, we have that. From the website, you can go check that. Rebar, fencing, roofing, BRC windows, Versa framing. Well stock for your buildings. Caribbean Metals is now with the e-commerce. Just one click, you can get it quick. Place your orders online and don't stick. Friendly website at your fingertips. No need to come in store to get equipped. That's right, you can get it quick. Hassle free, no need to worry. Ordering is simple like ABC. Visit our website today, you'll see www.caribbeanmetalslimited.com. That's www.caribbeanmetalslimited.com.
And welcome back to our program for today. Of course, we're switching gears, as I mentioned, putting sports aside for the time being, to begin discussing the matter of health. And you may or may not recall, maybe just last year, we were actually discussing with the Ministry of Health then it was the launching of their performance-based financing pilot program. Right. And of course, you would have remembered some of the interventions, especially in the East Coast and places like Dennery, I think at the time was being launched, yes. Specifically, and the focus on non-communicable diseases and interventions in that. Yes. And in fact, I remember then we did say that, we're going to wait for the update as to see how things are going. Yes. And so I'm so very pleased that Mr. Nahum Jean-Baptiste, he is back as promised. To give us this update as to how the program has been rolling out over the past year.
Thank you for this opportunity. You know, first of all, I will take it from a personal experience, and I have to thank God and thank the government. Well, the governments, I'll put it, I think, because it's about going up to 2 years, to give me this opportunity again to contribute. Now, in terms of the program, we have actually expanded to the 17 pilot facilities. You remember last year we started with 8 in phase 1. We learned a lot of lessons during that time, and we are still learning as we go along. But now we are at 17 facilities. So this is like phase 2. And then if you remember our discussions, the phase 3 would include the remaining primary care facilities. So we have moved quite a bit. I can go into the details to measure the actual performance to bring us where we are here right now. But
before you even get into that, though, just for somebody who may be listening to the first time, performance-based financing, and they may be wondering, what is this idea about? Why is it even important in healthcare?
Very good, very good. So let's take it down into. So first of all, PBF. Normally it's called PBF. The acronym is PBF. You may have heard RBF. Some people call it Pay for Performance, but it is really a mechanism that's used by countries to strengthen the health system. And so health system strengthening, it's like the background of everything that's done in health, because it has to do with the staff, the financing. In other words, the non-disease things that you would need to put in place to be effective and efficient in controlling and addressing diseases. So for us, most of us think when we talk about diseases, just doctors and nurses and hospitals, but there are other things. There's the financing part of it. You have to finance this. You have to find effective and efficient ways of financing that. You have to put in place systems to collect the data so that, our people say they don't like to buy jab or sack. So it's the same kind of thing whereby you want to justify what you buy. And also, we don't have a money tree, so to speak, so we have to very wisely spend the money and look to see what we could get, the maximum gains we could get from the money we have. So that's what performance-based financing is. Financing based on performance. Let's put it that way, just to simplify it. But it's one of the things that we have to learn. We have to put in reforms so that we are able to now operate in the milieu of universal healthcare. And what the WHO has recommended with respect to universal healthcare is, first of all, you have to start in the primary care. And so this is with the health centers, which really represents our primary care sector. And what this pilot is doing is introducing different reforms in the sector, so that when the government comes on board with all of the other package of services, fully blown universal health care, we would have started some of the critical reforms. In fact, and addressing 2 of the diseases that we know for sure going to be on the package, which is diabetes and hypertension, because they are the major killers in the country. So in a nutshell, performance-based financing is financing, trying to introduce a financing model or financing mechanism based on the performance. So you're not paying for the inputs, but for outputs. So you're not paying for staff and all of those other things. You're paying for what it is that the service is delivering. And that's the major change and a major difference. And to give, for want of a better description, this is how I perceive it, and I think that's how you could describe performance-based financing.
But help us understand a little bit more, maybe in terms of precisely what the financing is for, because some people may think, the government every year has a budget,
right?
And they put to the Ministry of Health, and there's so many nurses, the staff complement, it's paid, the salaries are paid for, the various utility bills are paid for.
Right.
So what exactly, when we're saying that you're looking at the performance of these health centers, what are they getting that they were not getting before?
Very, very good. So first of all, the one of the things, the key things in all of this is what we call is data. Using data to measure performance, using data to measure your needs, using data and using data based on your population. So for each of those facilities, there are people. And the logic behind it is that I'm going to give you an amount for each person. And then you now would have to work around the delivery of your services. So you'll have, let's say you have 1,000 or 10,000 people. The capital I give you, that's going to be your total budget, and you have to work your services around delivering by that. So it's a total shift around to what we are doing. You understand?
So
we now have to think about the number of people that you have to serve. The government is going to give you an amount for each person, and it has to work. Now, it goes with trial and error, but at the end of the day, it is a lot more measurable than if you just say, all right, I pay for staff, I pay for utilities, and I pay for it. So you'll have to factor into that equation. So the amount that you give to each person is important. And the way that is done is like based on what has been happening around the world. So for us, in our case, it's about 3.3 US per person. And that is the methodology that is also used, the financing mechanism that is also used with the performance-based financing program. So
is this 3.3 US per person for what period?
Per catchment per year.
Per year?
Right, per year. Right? So 3.3 per person per catchment per year. But you assess that because we rigorously look
that sounds a little low though.
Yeah, it's a little low. It is a little low. But it's only paying for because that's a very good observation because the government. So right now we have in the PBF the 3.3 is paying for the delivery of services. So all of the inputs, so the staff, some of the other things, the equipment, although PBF is also providing some equipment, but most of that money will be going towards what we call providing the outputs, what you give from the service delivery. So that part of the equation, you are quite right. The input part that looks at the staff and looks at these other things, the government is now providing that. Well, except for my unit or our unit, which serves as the management and coordinating unit for the entire program.
So let's take an example of the Monrepo Wellness Center, which I believe was one of your
it was
your 8 in the original phase out, the 8 that you had. There's a certain population within that catchment that is served by that at Monrepo Wellness Center, and based on that population, you apply your rate
we apply
of your $3.30 per person US for the year, and you give that wellness center a sum of money based on that.
Exactly. And we depend on that wellness center. We don't stay in the office. We depend on that wellness center to tell us their needs, about their needs. And of course, it's scientific. It's based on data. The important thing about this is that you need data for every step of the way, because as long as money flows, there must be data flowing. You understand? And what we're trying to do here is prepare us to be able to purchase, us being the Ministry of Health in the future, to purchase services.
Right.
So if you look at in terms of health financing, there are 3 major areas. There is the mobilization part, there's the pooling part, and there's the purchasing part. So this performance-based financing is it's a pilot. But while we are doing the pilot, people are also receiving the service. That's the important thing about it. We are gathering the data so that the government in the future can say, well, all right, for a year, we have been doing that, we have been implementing that for a year, and these are the results that we find. So you now have estimates, if you want, very robust estimates on how you could proceed, albeit now for diabetes and hypertension. But if we decide to introduce performance-based financing to other diseases in the package, like cancer, or maybe COPD, or maybe mental health, we'd have had, if you want, a case. We'll not be starting from scratch as we had to start from scratch from the pilot. So it's very exciting. I mean, for me, and again, because of my area of training is really in data. I'm a demographer, and so to break down the population like this little thing, and to have like each unit working as, I think it's a very good model. That if we could replicate across. Because I know for the Ministry of Finance has been looking at performance-based kind of financing. I think they used to call it results-based financing, and now they're asking you for outputs and things like that. So it's introducing a new model, but it's also having us to think outside of the traditional way of how we were financing things.
Right. So it's a sort of a cost center approach. Each unit is now being looked at individually, and you can assess them on that basis.
Right.
Now, what kind of data are you looking at
very good.
At this level for each institution?
So we have installed in every single and this has been an investment that the ministry had made many years ago. I remember when I used to be in the HIV and AIDS program, we had invested in a health information system called the St. Lucia Health Information System, SLUHIS. So this is the basis for everything under the PBF. We're not paying for anything that's not in SLUHIS. Everything that we do, we collect all of the data in SLUHIS. We analyze that data and we feed it back to the facilities. That's what we use to pay for the services. There are, for example, one of the things that, I mean, it's a pilot. We're learning from the pilot, but we have, for example, provided free lab tests to about 1,520 persons up to March of this year. So right now, we started in August last year, and we just saw like the floodgates were open. People who were not coming, diabetic and hypertension patients, that is, they started to come, and then and so they come, they get their free lab tests, and some of the anecdotal information we get from the nurses, they're saying, but we haven't seen that person for 4 years. We haven't seen, and you know, for something like that, especially for diabetes, you need to be seeing that person every 4 months.
Right.
So I mean, that contributed to one of the quality indicators right away. So it just gives you a sense of, if you're thinking of just about the medical intervention is always important, but this is showing you that the financial intervention is important. The data aspect of it is also very, very important, and the quality aspect of it. You know, so just by doing that, making that intervention, we're seeing an increase in the number of some of the other indicators that we would like to see. And that's the beauty of that pilot. You know, you're providing services at the same time. You're seeing some of the outcomes that you would want to see, even though you don't have all of the data. And then you're now revealing a lot of things about your program. So for example, all these years we're doing that, when we look at, so we compared that with the STEP survey, for example, and we see, but we're doing all of that, but the number of people we have, diabetics and hypertensives we have in SLUHIS, is less than 10%. So that we don't tell us we only know about what we're doing and everything all we're doing is just for 10%.
So that is suggesting that the majority of individuals are in fact looking at getting these services through private entities,
or we don't know,
or they're not
exactly
availing themselves of services at all.
Exactly. Or some of them don't even know. They don't even know, because if they have never 4 years, I mean, you're supposed to do screening for diabetes and hypertension every 3 years. You know, and I myself guilty of that. I haven't done, although I know I'm hypertensive, or on hypertensive medication, but it is something that makes you open your eye as a healthcare provider, even as somebody programming health. Look, my coverage is very poor. So that's the other thing that this is doing.
You mentioned a very important aspect, and that is the engagement of the public.
Right.
In terms of ensuring that they actually take up the services.
Right.
That tends to be a major issue. And we've always said more so for men than others who need an even added push to get them to go in.
Yes, very good, very good.
Is that included in any way in terms of some of the intervention that you're looking at?
Yes. In fact, one of the reasons why you were not hearing performance-based financing blasting on every other thing is that its focus is on the community. So most of those interventions are done in the communities where they are being implemented, and we do have under the project, not really working with the performance-based financing project, but working with the project implementation unit, which is strengthening all of the health systems, working on communication initiatives. There's a communication strategy. but it's focusing on those 17 facilities. Well, on the 8 now, added on the 9. So it's more focusing at the level of the community, working with the facilities in the community, trying now to engage some of the groups within the community to do a lot more outreach. We have a lot more outreach happening, to do a lot more screening, you know, and also, and it's not just looking at screening more people or diagnosing more people, the quality aspect of it. So it becomes very difficult for us, in addition to just getting more people to come. We now have to think about, we now have to evaluate the level of risk for that person, first of contracting the disease, but also of moving over to advancing to a more complicated type of the disease where they may require hospitalization.
Right,
all of those
additional
things.
costs.
Additional costs. You see, so there's a lot of objectives, or if you want, outcomes, but we have to do it step by step, because in the first place we don't have the data. Our first step now is to try to get the data so that we can better understand what's going on, you know, and therefore that health information system is key for everything. So we have to look at the health information. We have to make it the basis of all of our decisions, and we have to strengthen it so that it's able to do that. So that is also a very important part of the project.
Coming back to the whole issue of the health information system and the idea of having a sort of a health card, you being able to, you know, your information is known. People know, okay, well, you know, you haven't had a checkup in 2-3 years,
Right.
or you're due for a checkup now, and how is that happening? Is that for another project maybe?
No,
is
no,
this
it's
being
because this is a quality component. This is a very important quality component. It's what we call recall. So according to our guidelines and protocols, you as somebody who do not, so first of all, we delineate, or we divide the population into people who have the disease, people who don't have. But we have to provide services for both. So the screening services would go to people who do not have the disease. But once you have jumped from the pool to the of the
not having to having,
you also have to be monitored. So that's two separate populations that we have to, each community have to look at, and so it's very, very, very important for the information system to first of all determine that, to be updated to a certain extent. And what we are now putting in place is what we call a recall list. So persons who don't keep their appointments, persons who have moved over from the pool of being well to the pool of now getting the disease, to keep them in check so that they come back. They come back within those who have the disease within the 4-month period to do these tests, and we give them the free test so they don't have to pay out of pocket, which is a very important objective of the universal health coverage thrust. So you know, so definitely the data, this is, and I cannot overemphasize the importance of that. And maybe I have a bias toward it because maybe that's my area, but I think that if we in health, in any ministry, able to know our target population, what proportion we cover, what it is that's going on with those who have the event or the situation which we want to monitor, and those who do not have. You know, I think we'll be in a much better place to spend in more money more efficiently and so on.
Now, I know we don't have very much time, but you did mention some lab data.
Yes, lab tests.
What about screening?
Yes, screening.
Tell us about some numbers there, if you've got, how is that coming along?
Right, so I don't have the screening data, but I can remember some of the some of the percentages. So what we have done, we have broken down the as I said, into two populations. Now, because it's a chronic disease, once you have it for life. So it's very easy from your population just to subtract those who have the disease, and then now you have a target population that you have to meet for screening. So when we looked at,
and you can narrow it down, I suppose, by age as well.
Yes, we can narrow
to
by
who
age. So
should
for us,
begin screening.
it's 18 and is for our target population for diabetes and hypertension is 18 and over. Okay, we know that we have the juvenile, but the majority, 90%, 90 to about between 90 and 99% of the
Of incidences adults.
Of diabetes will be 18 and over. So our target population is 18 and over. And we have found in some facilities, the facilities are doing, that's the other thing, all of the facilities are not performing at the same level. And what we have found is that now once we have introduced that, now you now have facilities looking for, talking about competition.
Right.
And there's a buzz around who is doing better and who is not better and why is that happening there and why. That was something that was not there before.
Right. Now, by you saying that, it suggests that there's a level of transparency and accountability across the board, that facilities actually do know how they are performing relative to others.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. And
so this is something that is published? How is it?
Well, it's not. So we launched in June, in July. I think it was in July. Then when the bank told us the data that we had collected, we launched in June. The data that we had collected for July was not. They felt that we needed give it 2 months, and so our quarter starts in August. And then when we looked at the three consecutive quarters, we have seen increases in coverage of the target population for screening. Screening has done much better. One of the things that has happened in the screening and with especially diabetes screening, we've been working. I need to mention that the World Bank. We've been working with the World Bank. We've been working with the World Bank for 2 years to try to get that off the ground. I think we are now off the ground. We have the 17 now. We have some money now to pay for incentives because we have not been able to pay for the incentive because the bank has these conditions. So we have met all of the conditions now. The facilities are excited about but even in the absence of the incentives, we had introduced some of the things, the recommended interventions. One of the things was the screening for diabetes. We were still doing the finger stick, but with the introduction of there's something called the fine risk score where they do a risk assessment before they do, and it's not even a finger stick. Right now we are trying to see if we can now introduce the HbA1c machine so that we now modernize, trying to modernize the sector. But what I want to talk about is the uptake of those facilities, the PBF facilities for that. So it has moved from zero, just in that time period there, zero to an average, I would say, to about 10% of the target population. Now that is significant because if you look in Sluis now, and you would compare the target, what is covered in Sluis with the target population, when we do the population calculations and then looking at the prevalence that we got from the step, it's between 2 to 8%. But for that particular intervention, we have seen almost some facilities have gone 10% already of their target population. Now, people may say it's very low. Yes, it's very low, but it's a new kind of culture that's been introduced to the facilities now to look at your population, separate your population into, and try to reach not only those who have the disease, but those who do not have the disease, and treating them, giving them the same type of intervention that they warrant according to your guidelines and protocols. So it's exciting time for me as well, because what I'm seeing is, because you say, all right, you have a principle, you have a phenomenon, but now you're actually seeing it being manifested. It's early days yet.
What's the timeline, though, in terms of how much time is this project going to be running for?
So the project itself is supposed to end in October, but we have a request for an 8-month extension. Right, because the thing is, an evaluation component was added. But as you know about the evaluation, for impact evaluation, you need a little more time, and so they gave us so the project itself. We are currently, as we speak now, in front of the bank is a request for an extension until June of next year. In addition to that, the PBF pilot is also the basis for the UHC's financial policy, trying to change the way that we finance in order to make the Ministry of Health a purchaser of services. So beyond that, so there's also the discussion of institutionalization of the PBF into the regular services of the ministry. We are thinking it may end up which most probably will end up in the unit of the universal healthcare, to continue, but also to continue to introduce some of the reforms that the PBF is introducing. So these are longer term vision.
I know we're a little over time, but a very important word you use you mentioned incentives.
Right.
What does that look like in this context?
Right.
When you say?
So the two main interventions I would say, or the new things that the PBF pilot has added to the regular program. Right away, that's what it is. It's not it's not new, fresh and new. There are new things added to the existing program to make it a lot more to operate in a better, to operate within the universal healthcare milieu. So the two things are the free lab tests, which will contribute to the out of pocket, but the incentive is geared toward providing a level of autonomy to the facilities. So the way it works, when you perform, and there are formulas to calculate your performance. You set a goal every quarter. This is calculated based on whether or not you achieve the goal. Once you have achieved the goal, you're going to get that money. And for the next quarter, you now have to plan services to looking at the objectives. There are 4 indicators, obviously, 2 for screening, 2 for treatment, diabetes, hypertension, and so on. But whatever programs that you plan for the quarter has to contribute toward those. So it's like revolving around consistently trying to be efficient and moving forward.
Wonderful. We've been speaking with Mr. Naim Jean-Baptiste. He is the project coordinator for this performance-based financing pilot program of the Ministry of Health, Wellness and Elderly Affairs. Before they kick us off, we're going to have to end the program.
Yeah, thank you very much. But it's always excited to be here. And hopefully, if you bring me back again next year, I probably would be able to...
Well, hopefully before next year. Hopefully we can get another update. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, to give you a little more...
And maybe even a sense from what is being said from these various wellness centers as well. It might be good to interact with some of those the operators and how they find.
So are you from Mon Repos? Because I noticed...
No, I'm not. I'm not. I just pull it out of the hat.
Okay. Yeah.
But thanks very much again.
Thanks for having me.
Wonderful. And of course, sorry we couldn't take any calls today, of course, but I'll be back tomorrow. And that's the program for today. I'm your host, Calix Shaw Jr., saying goodbye.
Yeah, thank you.
You're listening to Radio Caribbean International.
101 number 1.
Secure your tomorrow today with BOSL Global Investment Fund, the investment opportunity that empowers your financial future. It's a mutual fund that diversifies your investments across stocks, bonds, and other investment instruments, giving you the potential to make your money work smarter for you. With 3 unique investment options, it suits every investor's preferences, and you can start with just $200. Take control of your financial journey with the BOSL Global Investment Fund. Call us at 758-724-6838 or visit our website at boslglobalinvestmentfund.com to learn more. Terms and conditions apply. BOSL Global Investment Fund. Your money, your future, our expertise.
Celebrate World Milk Month with Dutch Lady and Peter and Company Distribution. This June, enjoy amazing savings on Dutch Lady milk products at your favorite stores. Plus, we're partnering with schools to nourish young minds through their school feeding programs. Find us at Deli's Supermarket, Ultramart Inc., Uptown Supermarket, Massey Stores, Wet and Cold Express Store,